So today, rather than just having my pre-plan already on the charts before I started the video, I wanted to do it on the video. So let's first start off by looking at NQ, and we're just going to start off on the daily chart. And just looking at the daily, I mean, we can just see here on NQ that obviously we haven't made an all-time high since the 30th of October. So it's been a couple months. But let's see what price action has been kind of doing. Since making the all-time high, we were in a really nice 9 moving average downtrend on the daily chart. We came down to the 100 moving average, down to the 2400 levels, tested that area out, and then kind of like rallied back up to set a lower high. But since setting this lower high, I mean, the 25,843 level has been some pretty crazy resistance since then. We rejected here, pulled back, found some buyers, then also rejected here again, found more buyers down at the 50 EMA. So this looks like a base box, right? Because we're not really respecting the 50 moving average. We're kind of cutting through it rather than consolidating like above it. So rather than it being a 50 moving average box, it's a base box. Meaning on the weekly chart, this look is definitely going to be a 50 moving average box, right? Like all that consolidation, right? It's just kind of like a box structure. Um, and then we're looking here, and then again, we're at the same spot as we were. This is our third time testing out this area of resistance. And so far, as of yesterday, I mean, for the past couple of days, I mean, if we just kind of like look at these like top candle wicks right here, it has not been that promising that we're going to break out of here. You see a lot of wicks up here signaling that, hey, we have a lot of strength on the seller side. So, we're not really trending, in my opinion. I mean, we're kind of just like grinding higher. So it's kind of like a sideways to higher price action. Right now, we are sitting at the daily 9 moving average. And if we can hold this, then I mean, this would be pretty nice because that means we'll hold the 803 level, the 25,803 level. And then from here, I mean, we could continue higher. But if we fail to hold this, then I do expect price to come back down to the 630s and do what it's been doing. Probably bounce off the 630s. If we can't hold the 630s, then I definitely think we come down to the 24,481 level, which is where the 50 moving average, and then there that'll kind of be like the last resort as to where I expect buyers to step in. But we've already taken out previous week's high yesterday or Monday we took it out. So I am still bullish. We're obviously moving higher. But here are the scenarios that I kind of expect to play out. One is that we kind of find some buying down here at the 9 moving average. We can maybe find some resistance here at previous day's high. But on a daily time frame trading level to level, this is the move I'm kind of like expecting. Just like analyzing the daily time frame. So I understand the next couple of days, as long as we can hold this level, I want some more continuation, at least until this level here, 26,204, to where we could be getting closer to all-time highs on NQ. Now, if we go lower to the 4-hour time frame, oh wait, I didn't plan out the rest of it. So again, and then my other scenario on the daily chart is that okay, if we don't hold this, then I do expect price to in fact come back down here, retest the 630s, and then kind of move higher from there. And if we fail that, of course, then obviously, hey, we could always come back down to the 25s. But if we fail to hold the 25s, I mean, longs may be cooked, and we could be seeing lower, down to like 25 120 or even 24 758. But this is kind of thing like I am bullish. I'm not overly bearish long term. If today ends up like a bearish day and we just want to like sweep all these levels, and obviously I'd ride that momentum. But on the lower time frame, what this trend is telling me that it may be better to just wait for long setups, as they're the most probable to work out. And so we can go and adjust in the 4 hours, like the same thing. We're kind of getting that information on the 4 hour. What are we seeing? Well, we're seeing kind of like the 100 moving average being held. And as long as we can like hold this area right here, that'd be great. And we can just kind of see some more continuation. So we can like just like refine this a little bit more. This is the scenario that's kind of like playing out on the 4-hour right now, to where we could potentially be holding this area. And if we do, we can see continuation higher. If we don't, then guess what? We're going to see lower, retest the 630s, and we can only hope that we find buyers at the 630s. If not, then we can obviously see lower. And then looking at the 1-hour, with these things in mind, with this kind of like plan in mind, this is what I am looking for today. So this is me mapping on my scenarios. Okay, scenario 1 is holding this current level that we're at right now, maybe even potentially sweeping London low, and then we're going to want to trade from level to level. These are hourly levels. These are different from like the 4-hour and the daily levels. But we on the hourly, we don't trade from level to level. If we find acceptance, if we bounce off of 25,713 and find acceptance at 25,865, then we're going to consolidate here for a little bit and then make a move to continue higher. Okay, these are the two bullish scenarios that I'm mapping out for today. And we're going to label this one too. These are kind of the bullish scenarios that we're mapping out today. But none of this is going to happen. Obviously, like, in order for us to really set in a higher low on the daily and be able to hold this level, guess what we need to do on their lower time frames? We need to hold this 25,713. If we hold this 25,713, then we obviously know, okay, the 4-hour is going to hold its 100 moving average. Okay. And then if this holds as well, then obviously we know on the daily, okay, the 9 moving average is also going to be held, right? So that is our bullish scenarios for the day. And we can go ahead and just label these as lower time frame bull. And then so we can basically look at this and be like, okay, well, what if we lose this level? What's going to happen? Well, if we lose this level, then what we're going to do is we're probably going to kind of like continuously consolidate down here, find some consolidation, right? And then we're going to want to move lower to retest the 630s, because that has been a major bull bear zone for the past couple of weeks now. And if we lose that level, then I mean, guess what? We can potentially see lower. And I'm talking about, and I'm looking for us to kind of like see lower down towards the monthly and yearly open, maybe even the 25,408 level, right? Maybe even take out previous week's low, which is incredibly rare, which is, I do not believe it's going to happen. But again, this is the stock market and anything can happen, right? We're not here to kind of like make predictions necessarily in terms of day trading. Well, I mean, you can, right? But it's better to just map out potential scenarios that could work out, or like things that could happen, and then react to them if you do see them playing out. So here we have like, basically two scenarios, right? We have scenario 1, which is for the bulls, and then scenario 2, which is for the bears. Obviously, if scenario 1 plays out, then what we'd be looking for here is to find acceptance to continue long, and then scenario 1.2 will then take into will then take underway. If we do find acceptance, we start consolidating up here. But if we don't, if it's going to be a bearish day, then guess what we're going to want to do? We're going to want to chop around down here, fail to hold this level. You can get into like a wedge break down here and then fall, test the 630s. If we bounce here, that's great. You could take a reversal setup down here for the bulls. But at this point, if we find acceptance at the 630s and then we fail to hold it, we can potentially see even lower. But I'm on the bull side just because the overall higher structure trend has been kind of like sideways to higher, right? We're kind of just like grinding higher. You can even like probably like draw like a trend line here, right? It's kind of like a wedging structure here that we have. Not the best wedging structure, but it's still kind of like a somewhat of a wedging structure that we have here. And then you can just like kind of see like we're just kind of like making it tighter and tighter. We're getting really tight, so it's either going to explode to the upside or maybe even explode to the downside. But either way, I do feel like this like choppiness and this kind of like consolidation is setting us up for a potential big move into like a nice direction. But that is my plan on NQ. And then if we kind of like zoom out and take a look at ES, it's going to be something very similar. Now we can actually go through this quicker. So we see that, okay, on ES, we're holding the 69.72 level. We already took out previous week's high. So the likely chances of us coming all the way down to the previous week's low is very unlikely. And also, again, we just made it an all-time high yesterday on ES. And what are we doing? We have a much better trend, a much stronger trend, not as sideways as NQ is. And these are, again, on the daily time frame. What can I expect if we hold this level? If we continue to hold the 69.72 level, I definitely expect us to kind of trade from level to level, right? Go on to the next level. And then if we can find acceptance here at the 70.26, then we can definitely go to 70.81. That's a lot of that's going to be a big move. The ES on average doesn't move that much, so I just kind of want to take into consideration what can happen in the next upcoming days. So let's see here. And then if we lose this level, right, we can kind of then fail back down to the 69.17. Again, just trading level to level. And let's go ahead and mark that off as the bear. All right, so we understand like these are the scenarios, potential scenarios that could play out. And again, we could even go as deep as into the monthly and yearly open. But right now, I mean, look, ES looks like it's wanting to start a nice daily 9 moving average trend to the upside. And then if we look at the 4-hour, we can like just like kind of like fix these because the daily chart doesn't really do us justice in terms of drawing these. Okay, on the 4-hour, we can again obviously expect the same thing. What are we seeing? Well, we're seeing that right now we're holding the 50 moving average. So we're kind of like in a 50 moving average box. We're kind of cutting through the 90 EMA and the 20 EMA, right? But the 50 moving average is holding up price. And where are we at right now? We're at the 50 moving average. So we can continue the structure up. And you can probably find a nice reversal. Maybe we get a 1-hour reversal setup here, a 9 moving average reversal setup to continue this uptrend. So it's going to be very interesting to see if we can hold this 69.72 level. If we want to kind of like dip a little bit below that. But we did take out previous day's low already on ES. And on NQ, I do not believe that we did that. No, we actually did. So on both assets, we already took out previous day's low. So it's going to be a pretty interesting day. It's going to be a pretty interesting day. But I'm looking at bullish for both assets. And then again, if we look at intraday scenarios that can potentially map out, we're going to want to see that, hey, if we want to continue higher and we want to actually have a 1-hour reversal set up to continue the 4-hour trend that we're kind of seeing here, I can expect that the 69.68 level to hold, maybe even take out London's low, and then we continue higher, going from level to level. Now, that's the bullish scenario 1. Obviously, if we form acceptance up here at 69.93 and we want to continue higher, then we have to consolidate a little bit, allow price to get ready to make that next move, and then trade to the very next hourly level. And again, this is the scenario 1, scenario 1, 1.2, right? We're kind of like preparing ourselves to not have to think on the spot, but just to react to what we already have planned out. But again, what if we don't hold the 69.68 level? Well, then guess what? Form acceptance down here, and then trade down to the very next level. Shocker, right? And then again, if we fail to hold this level down here, then I mean, obviously we can just kind of like see lower down to the potentially down to the monthly and yearly open. But like I said before, the likely chances of us doing that, in my opinion, are unlikely, just because of what the overall trend structure is doing, unless we get some type of like new information. But until we get some new information, I'm going to be definitely in heavy favor of the bulls. But for both NQ and ES, these are both my scenarios that I would like to see play out today. And my job is to kind of just like read and react.